that low ball like that. Third down and 6. Manning fires, caught for a first down by Clark.
What's going on, everybody? Drama 22. As you heard in the video, you heard Peyton Manning call out a call there. He called out DAG, and then he went L on the backside, okay? And we talked about that in the very first video. That's him taking a two-man concept of DAG and pairing it with a three-man concept of L on the backside. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to come up with the names that I'm using right now. You can call them whatever you want. They used to use letters for those three-man combos, but I'm going to use full-out names. This video is going to be a little bit different. What I'm going to do is really jump on the Madden field. I'm going to show you the combinations that I did. It's not 100% perfect. If there's some errors in there, I apologize. I'll change them later. But I'll show you the combo plays that I chose out of the system. I would just say this. There's probably about there's a lot of them, but and as the system grew, there's some playbooks out there that have like 30 different combinations of pass routes. If you ever go back and look at the New England Patriots playbook that was floating out there, back in the day, they had full 200 pages on just different types of concepts that they can marry together and kind of piece together. But I remember Tom saying that when he was running the classic Indy offense, which is probably around the era of 06, 05, all the way up until 08, I would say that definitely he had said he had 10 two-man concepts and 6 three-man concepts, and they didn't all work together, but he really worked off of that. So what I'm gonna do is I try to go through this stuff for the past couple of weeks, and I found some concepts that are that are easy to find in the book, so you don't actually have to create them on your own. So I try to limit some of the audibling that you're gonna have to be doing, or the hot routing. I like to go fast. So I'm thinking maybe like only 2 hot routes per concept at the most to create it if you need to. So let's just get into it. I'm going to show you the concepts here, and then what I want you guys to do is just kind of screenshot it, do whatever you need to. I'll spend a couple seconds on each one. I'm trying to move this thing out of here for you to get in the way. And you can take a look at this stuff and just kind of, these names I'm going to refer to when I jump on a Madden field. And I'm going to, if I were you, I would screenshot it and then look at it as you watch the video. Take it on your phone, then use it to refer to the names as I talk about them. All right. So that's one page of two-man. This one here is mostly concepts where you see number 2 working either out or in on most of these plays. Okay. It could be a short out 5 yards. It could be a deep out of 12 yards. Okay. But most of the time, number 2 is working out or in, not working vertical. Okay. And then the outside guy, the outside receiver, who in this offense is going to be your primary receivers. Okay, these are the guys that you're going to pay big money to. They're going to get the ball the most often. They're working at every type of route you can think of, from 5-yard ends to streaks to out routes to dig routes. Okay, 10-yard, 15-yard digs. Okay, so they have a lot of work to do in this concept and these schemes, but we're going to use this in the game. And then the other page of two-man schemes here will be right here. So now we're looking at the next 8 plays here are mostly routes where the slot receiver is working on a seam route, okay, for the most part. And then there are a couple where they're working corners or they're working some sort of post or something like that. But the one thing I want you to take a look at here that's important for me just to point out is there is a route in the game. Okay, it's called the the alley read. Okay, and pretty much what it is basically, we talked about it before, versus middle field closed or versus single high safety. That's what I'm going to call it. That seam receiver is going to go straight up the field on a route that goes straight down the from his original starting point and keep on running straight on the seam. And if it's middle field open, right, which is split safety coverage, he will bend it basically or run a kind of short post. Okay, so or a deeper post. It's kind of a way to basically beat split safety coverage like cover 2, popular coverage you might see. So that's something that is hard to recreate in the game with all the plays. Most of the time, and the reason why there's an X there, in these plays, we're just going to have just a straight seam, horrible drawing there. You're just going to have the straight seam route. Okay. You're not going to get the chance to get that middle field open part of the play. And I want to let you know that's pretty much how it starts. Now, there are some plays, though, in the game that do give you this type of Vindy, or we call it, I'm sorry, alley read. And most of the time that comes out of the four verticals concept. So we will be using four verticals and changing some routes within the four verticals to get that. And there are some routes in the game where they give you an alley read. If I had to choose, I would always love to have the alley read available because it just opens up the playbook and makes it so that there's some more options on every single read, but it's not necessary. So I just want to make sure you understand that. So when we start going on the field, expect it to be a straight seam most of the time, and we'll work off of that. Okay. All right. So just take a screenshot of these plays. We'll talk about each of them. Really, in the beginning of this playbook, let me just go back in the 2-man. I'm going to show you the 3-man next. Wait 1 second here. You know, some of the stuff that's for a read standpoint, really easy for us to work with is going to be working with this route down here, this Grissom route, okay, which is just really an out route by number 2 and a vertical route by number 1. Now, how deep is this route? I'm going to change this up. I'm going to have it at 5 yards sometimes. I might have it at 10. Okay, I'll change it depending on what I'm trying to get accomplished. All right. Um, Also, one quick note. Now, the offense, back in the Indy day, corner routes was not huge really, unless they got into the red zone. Okay, but I want my offense just in Madden to have some, not to always be inside breaking routes. So this would be like a nub set. This is like a 3-by-1 nub formation, the backside of it. So we have that there. We'll use that more in the red zone. And then down here, we have just the same idea, but now it's just from a 2-by-2 split. Okay, so there are some plays in the game. We'll work with that. It's not going to be, you're not going to see it a whole lot, but I just want to make sure you're aware of that. The next one here, Topper is a big play for me. I like this play a lot. You're going to see me work this one a good amount. You're going to see me work this one a good amount, guys, against quarters coverage. All right. Now, I didn't mention it, but the numbers here on the pages they have coverages that I think that they are good against are in black, and the ones that are grayed out are the ones I would not go against. Okay. So as we talk about this, I'll go through the playbook with you. It's going to be easy for you to see how I marry it up. But when I look at a concept, I want a concept that's going to beat a certain coverage, right? We're looking at jet right now. So, cover 2, I feel like this is a good play versus cover 2. Cover 3, same thing. Okay. 3 match. I'm not sure why I put 3 match on there. Maybe not 3 match. So that's a little bit of a mistake there. Okay. So, like I said, I'm going to clean this up a little bit and go back through it, but I wanted to make sure you guys had some visuals to some of this stuff so you can kind of work off of it. And let's go to the next one. The last one here is going to be, give me a second, the 3-man concepts. So 3-man concepts are always fun. Usually these concepts are good versus every coverage. They might have some exceptions where there's only 1 or 2 coverages that aren't good. So you can see like Crane is our original 3-man concept that we have. We know about it, right? And then over here we have Charger, which is, as you see over here, I like it versus pretty much everything. Now in the 3-man concepts, I did put 4 MP, which is 4 match palms. Okay, because palms will play a little different versus 3-by-1. Versus 2-by-2, I think I put it in there for a couple plays where it mattered. All right, like Grisham, not a good time to run. Against Palms, not good. It's built to beat. Palms is built to beat an under 2. Okay, even though the game doesn't play it perfect, it's still you could get it. The ball could be incomplete. All right, we're trying to go for completions here. So really, the main thing I want to talk about is my favorite ones, which I think are the ones that they ran a lot, was Miami, Dallas. Okay, those are big, and these concepts are good versus pretty much everything except cover 5 sometimes, or which is 2-man, or sometimes 4 match. Not great. Like Dallas, not great against 4 match, right? But we are okay with Miami. This is a big backside concept. So whatever concept we put on the front side, right? Let's just say it's Gresham. All right, we just worked that out in the vertical route. This is the side that we're coming back to as the second read. Now, we can also go with making this the first read, okay, and then having some sort of concept on the backside that would be your last read. Or we can also just go with, if we see a certain coverage, we're going to, let's say this is a good coverage versus split safety coverage. And then over here, we want post safety. Okay, so then when the ball snapped, if we see rotation, we go to the left. If we see the safety sitting back, we go to the right. So there are different ways to kind of read this stuff. We can make it a progression, but it's based off of what we anticipate, what we see on the field. Okay. And I think that's a really big part of the overall package, is having the understanding of what you see on the field, and the different type of coverage clues you might get are going to be big for you going forward. Okay. I did a video on my Patreon, and I think the guys really liked, about how to read coverages. And that's a big part of this offense. I feel like, there's a lot of YouTube sites out there that can give you, the same thing, but I do also have a little bit of tips and tricks to kind of take it to a next level. I'm not going to just put that on YouTube right now, because I have a lot of competitors that I don't want to give them all the answers to the test. All right. But overall scheme, the scheme is so good. I feel like everybody can learn from it and get something and take something from it. So that's the reason why I really wanted to do this. And also, again, my first offensive side of the ball, instructional kind of, guide. So I want to make sure that, you guys got it, and see if you like it and go from there. All right. So hope you guys took screenshots of those things. The next thing we're going to do is jump on the Madden field. I'm going to talk about some of the things. The only thing I don't have here real quick, hold on, let me open this up for myself here. Give me 1 second. All right. The only thing I didn't talk about is the standard. I was going to make that one of the combo concepts, but because we talked about it so much already, when it came to the early films, okay, you guys should know by now. Let's just go 2x2. All right. So if I called dig, why dig? Okay. On this side of the field, we're running the dig route concept. Over here, if I don't say anything, if I just said why dig and didn't say anything, right, we're going to get what they call the standard combination, which is just verticals by the two outside guys and the wide flare, right, or swing route in the game over here to the left. Okay. Now, this whole thing, the standard as they call it, is very good versus certain coverages, but it's going to pop up sometimes when we're on the Madden field. And if it was 3x1, so I have my three guys over here, I'm not going to draw the whole thing out from a time standpoint. We can also just have the outside guy run curl, okay, with the swing as well. If we got press or we got a cloud cover corner at 5 yards, we can audible him to a fade route. Okay, so that's just the basic of the play. That's always part of every concept. The only thing that's a little different, you see me if I say jet, because jet will be a concept, right? Those are going to be the four vertical plays where you have that alley read. Okay, so jet is going to most of the time give you that. So that's the difference between a standard and a jet. So that's going to pop up a couple times. All right. So let's jump on the Madden field. Let's see what's going on over there. And what we're going to do is I'm pretty much just going to take you through my playbook right now. There's some plays that I think I need to add. Like I don't have enough smash combinations in there, but what I'm going to do is kind of walk you through the progression of the offense and how it works. And we kind of tie in some of that tempo and how I'm calling the plays, and then what I'm trying to get to. Okay, the type of coverage look I'm trying to get to, and the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing, and then also how the playbook is kind of set up to be able to audible from one formation to the next without being much movement. Okay. All right. See you guys over there. Okay, so let's get on the field here. This is not a game situation. So let me just kind of go through the book a little bit slower than what we did before. And I always start here in doubles. So doubles is a big part of the book. I had said before, it's definitely mostly a right hash play for me, play a part of the book. But if it's on the left hash, I will run the ball or run some of the quick game concepts. I'm going to save the quick game concepts. We're not going to use them a whole lot. Listening to the video, they use quick game concepts like double slants really as an audible 95% of the time versus soft, loose coverage. Okay. So let's just skip over that. Let's get to the drop back, the meat and potatoes of things. All right. So this first formation is one of the most popular ones for me. Been using it the most, and the most play calls with it, as you see below. All right. And then you see the audible, you see the plays down here. So the first three plays are the plays I'm going to pick for the most part. All right. And then after that, I'm going to go down into these plays below and use them as audible. All right. So if I look at the audibles, Ohio double dig, halfback angle, four verticals, RPO zone. All right. Peak. So we'll come out and we just call a play. I'm just going to call a draw. I'm going to move the ball real quick. And I'm just going to go random 2-4 here. Just get different coverages here. Okay. We are on the right hash. Good. Right. So obviously we come out, and the thing about Peyton Manning, back in the day, if you guys remember watching, I mean, I've been watching some TV copies. He's given a play. Usually he's given a run and a pass. Okay. And and then he has the ability to change the play based off the look. So he can always audible using those code names that we talked about. And that's where he gets into the, working different. One side would be a two-man side, which would be where the two receivers are on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side would be a three-man side where you have three receivers, including the running back. Okay. So the way I'm going to try to simulate this is I can come out here and just run the play. So this is right now we're looking at the different types of shells we might get, the different types of coverages we might get. And I'm going to put them into really two categories to start, right? Just split safety coverage, which is what you see right here. You get two deep safeties, okay? And then you have single high coverage or single safety coverage, post safety coverage, where there's one safety deep, okay? From there, I can audible into these plays. And the way they're organized is my first play here on this list is a play that I like versus single high. All right. The square here, audible double dig. I like it when there's one safety deep. All right. Post safety look. I like this play when it's versus two safeties. Okay. So that would be this situation right now. All right. This third play here is more in this situation is more of I need to maybe combine my play call so that I'm not sure what coverage they're in. So I'm playing somebody who really mixes it up a whole lot. Um, they use a lot of two high looks and they rotate down the single high, right? Or they might do a lot of disguising with their corners, and it's just hard to get a read on things. So this is a system. This is going to be the setup where I'm going to use this play and probably make one or two hot routes off of it to get myself into a play that is good versus both. All right. So, and then this last play here would be the one that I would use if I want to get into a run play. All right. So there we go. That's the beginning of it. Now, let me just say this. When I actually go through this, these plays, like this first one is good versus single high in my mind, but you can mix and match however you want. And honestly, this play is also good versus too high. It's not like this play is a bad play versus too high. So if I guess wrong, I'm going to be in bad shape. And because we're going to be using a pure progression within the play, you just go through your reads and somebody will get open if you just follow the progression. And that's what you need to set up as your own coach. So I have my own way of doing it. All right, Coach Vaughn, C. Vaughn, the guy that I'm working with over in Discord, he might be doing it a little bit different. And that's the great thing about it. Like we could be running the same offense, but have different concepts and different mix matching of plays. So think about it. If I just gave you 18 two-man combos, then I gave you 16, I'm sorry, 16 two-man combos, and then I gave you 8 three-man combos, you can mix and match that however you want, as long as it makes sense to you and you like it. And also right now, the guys that I play, they might be thinking, hey, I know what, Geronimo's going to do. Well, I can change this. I can easily change the concept on the fly. I can add new concepts from the playbooks once I go through custom playbooks or stock playbooks. I kind of go through it and you can find new stuff. All right. That's the great thing. And like I had said before I'm going to stop talking, start doing some plays here. But the main thing is these are audibles that you can use. So a lot of audibles are going to be curls, outs, goes. These are things that are you don't need route apprentice for this stuff. Like some people do. Sometimes you need to have a certain player with a route apprentice and so you can create all these unrealistic routes. Nope, levels, concepts in general are really good because you can make audibles yourself. That's what really sold me on the package, okay? And this whole idea. All right, so no more talking. Let's kind of get into it and let's try to refer to the book. So as you see right here, this is to me a good play versus single high. Right now they are in. It looks like the start. The most likely it's going to be too high. All right. So split safety coverage. So I'm gonna go to my second one. All right. So this one here is on the left hand side. Okay. You have to make one change or you can leave it alone. But right now this would be Grissom in the book, the two-man concept called Grissom. He's running like a flat route right now. I'm just gonna put Stokely on a 5-yard out in the flat. Okay. On the backside over here, we have an angle route combination that's popular in the game. Many people have seen it. But what I'm going to do is take Clark and put him on a 5 yard end. Okay. What this is Grissom to the left, Miami to the right. So you go back and look at the sheet. This is Miami to the right. All right. The great thing about this is a good route concept versus really any coverage. But I'm going to read this like a full field flowing concept here. So it makes it easy for me in my progression. I'm going to start with Stokely on this out route. Okay. If he's open, we're going to give it to him. Most likely right now at this look, it looks like cover two. And guys on the Patreon, you guys know I kind of went through the reasons why it looks like cover two. But most of you guys who are on YouTube, you guys are pros. You probably know the same reasons. Looks like cover two, most likely, probably not going to be open. So I'm going to be really moving off of that pretty quick. Now, if that guy decides to blitz and he's wide open, give him the ball. That's your first read. That's one. Two is going to be now we're working to the 3-man side of this concept. We're going to work with Clark and Adai, okay? And Clark is running that 5 yard under. That's what they call it in their system. And then Adai is really running the trail, okay, trail route. Now, Adai's route is really sharp. In real life, it was more of like a slower route that kind of got, basically, the goal was for Adai to get to where Clark makes his break. That's pretty much where he would catch the ball, right? It would be in that little window. The way I'm going to read this is 2A and 2B. I'm going to give them the ball at the same time, whoever gets it. So it's not like I'm going to go Stokely and then to Clark and then to Adai. When they make their break, by the time I get back to them on the second read, either one is going to get the ball, whichever one is not being covered by the computer or a user, it's going to be happening quick. So I can get back to my third read, which is Wayne on the comeback. Okay, so this is one example that I made up in a sense. I'm not 100% sure that even the real coach ran it, but I'm using the concept that makes sense to me. It gives me the least amount of hot routes I can use. Okay, so let's just go through it. All right. Hopefully, I make some good reads there. I saw that the blitz came. wasn't sure that was what was going to happen. But so that first read is there for me on obviously a blitz, a nickel blitz there. Right. Now this is a little bit dangerous sometimes. Since there are some two trap blitzes, you may not want to throw this out ball into the two trap. But I just reacted. I was doing so much talking. I just reacted. That's my first read. He's open. Now, I've talked about this before. The guys on Patreon heard me say about leverage. You want to work routes that work away from the defensive leverage, right? So this guy is inside leverage. He's coming down from the inside. There's space out here, so we throw the ball, okay? If I wanted to go to that second read, I need to get rid of the ball because of the pressure. That was part of the reason why I had to throw it so quick. We don't have anybody blocking. We don't have any running backs blocking. So what they call blitz protection means that you cannot pick up that nickel in that situation. So you got to get rid of the ball quick. All right. But as we got over here, if I had time, all right, this would have been a tough route to throw the way they played this thing out. But right now, I would not have thrown it to Clark. I possibly would have thrown it to to Adai, trying to get it in there. But this right now, if I had time to sit in the pocket, this would have been a cloudy read. I probably wouldn't have waited on any of this. I would have been working now to the backside to throw my comeback. All right. So we're going to get through some different looks here, some different plays, but that was one example versus a too high shell defense that I thought it would be good versus too high. I thought it would be good versus quarters or cover four. Or cover two. And it ended up being cover three blitz, but I was still able to get through my progression because the way it's set up. That's the beautiful thing about this. All right. All right. Here's another one. Ohio double dig. Okay. So this is what I would do versus post safety. Safety's in the middle. We have the Grissom route here. This is a little bit of a deeper route, 8 yard out. Okay, you can make it shorter if you want. And then you have on the backside a little bit of a different 3-man concept. This is my other favorite one called Dallas. What I'm going to do is just put the running back put him into a halfback option. All right. But again, you can see how the reads are working together here. They're working from left to right. I'm going to read Stokely. Most likely, this is probably cover one. If he wins his route, which, again, this would have to be a matchup situation. If you had a really good route runner here who had abilities or something like that, I always try to put my best route runner in the slot. If you're going to have some situations where he's beating man-to-man coverage, you go for it. But if you feel uncomfortable, you see the nickel jump outside, it's just, go to your second read. Eliminate quickly. Go to your second read, which would be Clark. All right, Clark running his little 10-yard dig. So the third read would be Wayne running that deep dig or a die. So that third read to me is 3A or 3B. You throw it at the same time, you get the coverage. Now, if it's zone coverage, there's a good chance that the ball is probably going to end up going to the dig or to a die. If it's man coverage, there's a good chance it can go anywhere. All right, just got to see who wins, but you can also anticipate who might win based off your matchups. All right, so let's go through this. All right, I felt like the slot receiver did a good job. He got open. Not a great throw. Probably should have passed it a little bit more. But as soon as my first read, I see that the nickel was backing up inside leverage, right? And call this free access. There's nobody here in this window, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna throw this out route because I feel good about it. I could have came off of it if I didn't like it. Let's just back up a little bit more. See the tight end. By the way, tight ends get bumped around a lot in this game, so it's kind of hard to tell what kind of route they're gonna run, how deep they're gonna be. But you can see here, really, this is cover one. Everybody's pretty much open. I could have gone to two. I could have gone to either this guy or this guy, right? So this route concept to me is really good versus cover one and also good versus cover three. All right, so now they're going to give it to me again. They're probably going to give me the cover three version here. All right, so if I know the coverage, I can anticipate the coverage, I can almost start eliminating my routes and just skipping parts of my progression. So forget number one, right? And then let's just work to the backside here and see what we can get, okay? I threw that one late. That's my fault. Don't ever do that. If you're not sure of the coverage, don't throw a curl or check down late. That was a bad job, but let's just take a look at it. I think I skipped over number two. It actually looks like this is actually three seam coverage, which is pretty tough versus this. I think this might have been one of the ones that I said I didn't like. Let me take a look at this real quick. Once you might get a beat on your guys that they're playing. Three seam I said was pretty good still. You get a beat on your guys, you might want to start attacking the coverages more, but that's fine. Two was not open, right? And I thought when I came to three, I just figured, you know what, let me just get the ball out. Let me not take the chance and throw this route here. But if you guys know, deep digs are pretty good versus any type of man or match coverage this year, or zone, right? As long as there's a linebacker underneath. So this was a poor decision by me. By making this, I should have gone to the dig. Okay, that would have been the read there. All right, so split safety coverage look, right? We're going to go back to the Grissom with the Miami on the backside. Like, I think Miami's such a good route that I'm not even going to really worry about Stokely running his out. Okay, we're not going to always do that, but let's say this, right? Let's say you don't like Grissom, right? You're like, Coach, I don't really like it. Not one of my favorites. Well, we can also now take that front side combination on of here and turn it into something else. And that's the reason why there's a lot of routes where I have a seam of two, and we could take number one and put them on anything. So we have different combinations. We have my world, I'm going to call this Haas. I know Haas is a 5 yard hitch most of the time, but I think the smoke route's a lot cleaner. It gets more separation, right? I can go with what they call different names for different types of curls. I'm just going to go with the word Charlie. Okay, curl route. I can go with the holster and out route. Right, these are all things you can create. Or I can even go with the comeback route, which is comeback and seam is called Corona. Okay, so all of these things to me are pretty good versus specific coverages. All right, or I could just go with the standard. Right, put Harrison on a fade and go from there. So I'm going to say, hey, now I'm looking at this coverage, split safety coverage. There's some clues that are telling me there's a good chance this is a quarters coverage. I feel like Corona is actually a pretty good read versus quarters coverage. If for some reason this is now a little bit, now I'm going to take this into a full progression, but not necessarily a pure progression. Okay, this is going to be more of a half field read. So I'm going to say, hey, a full field, but based off of coverage alert. Okay, so right now I have a good play. To me, this play is good versus quarters all around. But if I get quarters for sure, I'm going to wait on Harrison. I'm going to work that side. Okay. If it's anything else, I'm just going to go to my backside of my concept here and work Clark, Adai, and Wayne and work that Miami concept. All right. How do I know it's quarters? When both those safeties don't move and they kind of float there and sit there, there's a good chance that it's quarters. That's exactly what they did. So now I'm just going to go my comeback, poor throw, but he was open. Miami's a good play versus quarters as well because you get the comeback on the backside as well. So you don't have to go with what I have here. I'm sorry, with this Grissom play. Okay, but Grissom to me is 5 yard out is pretty good versus quarters. Okay. Now, not to give away all my secrets, I do like versus obvious cover 2 man looks, certain plays. You can also just obviously run the ball. If you get a cover two shell, you know a team is trying to play you in coverage. We could just say, screw it. We're going to run the ball, right? We're going to make you get me out of the run. So that's one of your options as well. But the last option that I didn't talk about in this group of in this formation is what I talked about kind of a little bit already. I alluded to is getting into the four vertical play. The third play is a situation where, and I played a guy like this, and I probably should have gotten some more practice on it. He was really good at disguising coverages, right? There was really no tells. And I couldn't tell if it was going to be split safety open or splits or single or pro safety, blitz, man, zone. It was really hard, right? So now what I'm going to do is call the third play. And there's two types of third plays in my system. There's a play where I can work off of this now and I can create whatever I want, which is going to be kind of this one. There are some plays in the system where there's screens for the third play. So I don't feel like having so much to think about every single time. I'm just going to throw a screen, which is pretty good versus pretty much everything except press coverage, right? Wide receiver screen, halfback screen, whatever it might be. And then I do have some plays where in my third play, it goes back to the base core concept of working some of the original, core plays of our offense, which this is Crane right here. And I might have in some other situations, I might have Indiana, right? Good versus everything. So there, if somebody was really trying to come out and just say, I'm going to be a disguised defense, I'm going to play shell coverage, and Geronimo's never going to know what coverage I am, so he can't get into a good play. Well, that's okay because I can base my offense off of I'm going to always be right. I'm going to create something so I'm always right, or I'm going to screen you, or I'm going to run my core concepts. That's the reason why I started the playbook with the core concepts because you need to learn that first and then you get to this other stuff later. All right. So let's talk about this four verticals. Now, I told you the power of four verticals has, you see the slot receiver, he's running the alley read route. That's so powerful because he's basically running a route that's good versus single high, which is the seam, or he's going to read it. If it's split safety, he's going to run a post. So you have a good answer versus a lot of different problems, especially teams that run two man. You have a good answer. That post route can maybe get open. Okay. The other thing about this is I love the die his check down route. Maybe this isn't the most realistic thing when it comes to the system, but that little check down option route that he runs again, good versus zone. He'll sit down. Good versus man. He breaks away. So you kind of have two answers right there. But let's take it to the next level. Let's take what I talked about in that second page of combos and let's talking about again the outside guys, how we can change the routes to whatever we want. Okay. So in simple terms, I like to have play on one side that's good versus split field coverage, which I'm going to use the side where the alley read is because of we have a nice little alley read. So I could just leave that alone. Right. On the right hand side, I'm going to get a play to me that's good versus post safety. So if they rotate, what's a good play versus post safety? Okay. So as I go back and I talk about the different types of coverages, I do break it down even further and say there's split safety man coverages and there's split safety zone coverages. Okay. Which one's which, right? So cover two is a big tell that, both corners are standing at 5 yards. There's a good chance it's cover two. You might want to be ready for that. And then there's zone coverages. But to make it easy, if I don't know if it's man or zone, I still want to have a good play that's good versus split safety man and good versus split safety zone. Okay. So that's what I'm kind of getting towards right now. And that's the reason why on the left hand side, I'm gonna leave this alone right now. And that's the jet play that we talked about. Because if it's two zone, you have a good chance of getting somebody open with the post route and an outside fade. If it's two man, the same thing. The post route might open up. So on the right hand side, like I said, I might have repeated myself. I'm going to go for now something that's good versus cover one and that's good versus potentially cover three. Okay. So my first cue, there's some clues that I know that this is definitely going to be zone coverage. Okay. So I'm going to go with the Corona play, which is the comeback. Going to be good versus if this for some reason it becomes like a zone pressure, it's good versus this. But this is also going to be good versus split safety coverage as well as a last read. Okay. So you just work the system, you just kind of work it out. It ended up being quarters like I had thought. So I went to the backside. Okay. That was fine. Now, another way I can work this. I know this is an obvious cover three look, so it doesn't matter. But pass to me is good versus cover three on the left hand side. Okay. And then on the right hand side, if I wanted to just keep it, I could just keep it and I could just put the back out in the swing and run that standard that I've talked about. Right. So right now I'm thinking on the left-hand side, this is going to be good versus single high safety look. On the right-hand side, this is going to be good versus a split safety look if I didn't know the coverage. Now I know this is going to be a single high safety, so we're going to rock out here. But to me, the hitch and the seam is a good route concept. If that nickel gets hands on the hitch, on the seam route, I'm throwing the hitch or or really the smoke. All right. If he lets him go, he expands out to the smoke. I'm gonna look for the seam. Okay, so we're kind of working a conflict defender. Not sure. Here's a good example: a cover two look. Right. So a lot of people will call cover nine show two, cover six show two. There's some zone pressures that start like this, so I'm not sure. So I'm gonna go to my four verticals. Okay. Um, I'm gonna go with the situation here where I'm gonna change my right hand side. Okay, and I'm going to use holster, which is a 10-yard out and a vertical, good versus middle field closed. So if they rotate and zone pressure me, I can now read the seam to the out, all right, on that side. If they decide to stay in cover two, I can now work potentially the go route or the post, okay? So the one thing is I would love to have the back over on the other side versus this as well, just so you know. But because he's running a good route right now, I'm just going to leave him here and he can always be a last check down, okay? There we go. We got the look that we wanted or we expected. I anticipated. Oh, I got a blitz look. I got a post safety look. So we went to the right. So this is part of the offense where it's not pure progression. It's more of show me a look. They show me cover two. And this is random play, guys. I didn't even set this up. So random play. I don't want to go to the left. I don't like the look to the left, obviously. I just have my jet route combination. I want to go to my holster, okay? The tight end looks kind of open there. You could have probably banged him the ball right there, but sometimes that throw is crazy with the safety there. I knew that that corner was backing up, so he's playing zone coverage. I just do the out. All right. So different situations. Now you have to be on the lookout for two invert. It's a coverage that pops up a lot, and if it does pop up, honestly, my favorite way you could just stay in the four verticals play. You can just knock it out. If you don't want to, if you're not sure, right, let's go with another combination that is decent, probably versus man coverage, is to put the outside receiver over here on a curl. This is called Charlie. All right. So if it's man coverage, I might be looking for that side, single high man. If it's zone coverage, I'll probably be looking on the left hand side. And if it's cover two, if I get a guy who likes to play a lot of two invert, I'm going to keep on the jet. All right. If it's not a lot of two invert, I'm going to probably put on a different play on the other side. All right. That one, I definitely should have thrown the seam route to the left hand side. That was my fault. I got a little bit nervous there. I don't know why I didn't throw it, but you can see here, this is just jet obviously works against this type of cover three. We should have just banged the ball right there. You could probably pass lead a little bit to the left to make sure that the safety doesn't get there. Poor job by me. But obviously it's zone coverage over here. So this read right here is still kind of iffy. You could probably throw the seam route here if you feel good about it. And obviously the curl is not what you want. But there was two seams that potentially open in that play. Poor job by me. Okay. And like I had said, we can change this up and make it different things. We can go with even Grissom if we like. We could change the tight end on the out route, right? To the right hand side. Come on. All right. Thinking, all right, hey, if it's quarters coverage to this side, if they're playing me in cover nine, right? Where the cover nine is cover two to the field, to the left hand side, or to the strength of the formation, to the receiver side, and then over here to the back side where the tight end receiver is, they're going to play cover four. So this is a good play versus that as well. The left hand side, if I do get cover nine, I'll keep the jet on and keep it working. All right. Not a great play versus maybe all types of cover threes, but you know what? You got to always remember that you do have your seam routes versus cover three. Okay. This is actually just regular cover two. So I could have definitely gone with the front side part of that route and thrown the post. Let me take a look at that again. So this part here is a little bit more complicated, but it's very rewarding in a game, right? Cover two, could have definitely gone with the post and not the middle. That would have been good. Poor job of my footwork in the pocket. I'm a little bit of a statue, but we can talk about that a different day. All right. So I think you guys have an idea of like the system and how we're trying to get set up. I think I spent a lot of time on that first formation. Now let's just go through some other plays real quick. Halfback gun doubles, halfback weak. This here is more of a, I like these run plays. They're pretty good. I have this pump I call the Sluggle seams. I use the pump idea with it. So you guys remember dig and dag, all that good stuff. Well, the pump is something that I use where people start getting aggressive. Okay, they want to jump the routes with maybe corners, or they want to play different types of coverages, and they're playing underneath coverage maybe from man to man from deep. So I'll use this play as a setup play later. And on the left hand side, we have Charlie. We have our alley read, which is really good with the Charlie, which is going to be good versus cover one as well. But if you don't like that, if you want to have maybe a better zone answer, maybe you go with Holmes, right? Or maybe you go with Corona, right? You can kind of change that up as you go. But as we come out here and go through the same system, here's a post safety look. So this is the play that I like versus post safety from this formation here. I promise you, it's not going to always be the same formation, the same plays as you go through the book. Okay, but I can go with this Grissom here, or I can go with the original play. Actually, this was Cruz right here with the tight end working that corner route. All right, so I'm thinking that's going to be good, versus post safety potentially versus cover one if you can win, or sometimes versus cover three. It actually works out pretty well for you too. Okay, and on the backside, this is Dallas. All right, Dallas with the halfback working out no matter what. If you don't like that, you can just put him on the halfback option. All right, but again, I like the Dallas concept versus a lot of different coverages, but I definitely like it versus post safety coverage. So here we're reading right to left, Clark to Stokely to Harrison or a die. Okay, so I'm a little bit late there in my decision making. The one thing I don't like about Cruz is it kind of makes me delay. I can't eliminate the route. I kind of sit on it for too long because the way I saw this thing happening, this is actually two invert. For some reason, something told me that I could possibly get this ball in here on a corner route. Again, that's a little bit too much. I probably should have put him on a Grissom on a 5-yard out. Would have been better. I would have eliminated him right now at the top of my drop. And now I have to make a decision on two, which is that dig by Stokely. He's covered, right? So now I got to go to three, and you're going to see me hitch up in the pocket a little bit. So you can see me now I'm on three. As soon as I get a little hitch, I'm thinking three. Right now, the halfback is not in any position to catch the ball, so I went with the dig route, came back to the ball, made a play. Okay. So if I had to pair this up with a better route, this is another post high safety coverage or post coverage here. Maybe the Grissom is one of my favorite, but you can think about other things that are good versus maybe cover three or cover one. So we can go with just having him on a go and having him have the Corona on the backside or Charlie, right? Good versus cover one right there. I'm going to work with that right now. So again, I'm really working Wayne outside circle to Stokely to Harrison or a die. Okay. That one there, easy to see that was man-to-man coverage. I have some clues that I use for that too as well. But that I was able to find out. I was able to take my first read there and make the throw. Not a great throw, but we're good there. If I didn't like it, if the coverage is really good, that corner never really backed up, we still have the potential of maybe throwing there. He probably would have been covered because I think it's whole. All right. And then now we have the option to either throw in the dig or throwing this option route right here. Okay. So you guys, I hope you guys like that. We're good there. They're gonna give me one more. I'm gonna just for time's sake, we're gonna go to the next one. All right. So let me just actually run the ball here. All right. So I'm just gonna run the ball. And again, the run game is a combo of different plays. It's not all just RPOs. But if you guys understand the whole system of the adaptive AI, if you want to repeat a play, these are my audible plays now. So I might be going fast tempo, it might be 2 minute. You don't have to worry about if you called it already because then you'll be in trouble. So RPO does eliminate that you have to actually call a play. You can call a play more than once on an automatic level. Cover zero look. Didn't talk about this. So cover zero look to me is the split safety category, but it's an obvious cover zero like this. You probably can get into a different play call, which is better. So um, usually whatever is my third play call, the one that I use where I can mix match coverages or whatever it might be, like the four verticals that I showed you last time. The next type of call that I have in this category are screens. So if you look at the whole playbook, let's just go through it. You're going to see, okay, level switches a core concept, four verticals in this one, halfback screen here, another screen. So I do have some screen plays which to me are pretty good versus teams that fall out blitz you. Okay. So we get a little bit of motion, but that's fine because there are other times we actually do shift into this type of alignment where the receivers are closer. But if you get the right blocks here, you can make the right run. You could bust that out for a touchdown. I could have bounced that out and got a touchdown. Okay, so just thinking about that, you can use that. Or honestly, you could go if they give me another cover zero look. You could go with the four verticals and hit that alley read route. It's actually pretty good. It turns into a post. It works out pretty well. Okay. All right, so here we go back to this. I'm not gonna run this play here. This is another cover three look. Anytime you get the safety that's standing right behind the corner, it's an obvious cover three this year. I don't know why they did that in Madden this year. All right, so let me just run the ball. So obviously RPOs are another great play that is good versus a lot of different coverages because you have the RPO action. That's pretty good. All right. So what I wanted to get to was this double post versus split safety. So let me just actually put a coverage out there instead of waiting for the computer to give it to me. I like double post here versus split safety, but this is a little bit different. This is a team that plays a lot of quarters, right? They play cover nine, they play cover six, they play quarters, they mix it up, they play match. Okay. Let me back up a little bit. So if I get a team that plays a lot of quarters, I want to use this as an alert. Okay. So this isn't a pure progression from one to two to three going that way. This is more of the alert progression where on the left hand side, I'm going to use um, somebody who talks about this a lot is JTO. He actually calls it pure progression with an alert. I think he calls it that. So on the left hand side, we're alerting for quarters, which is I already know the coverage. On the right hand side, we're just going to run our version of dig. Okay. So I know the tight end's running in like an over route right here. That's not a true dig. You can keep that on. It's kind of unrealistic, but really, if you want to get him into the real route, that's it. So if I get quarters, I'm going to look for the double post. The inside post guy gets eaten up by the free safety, and then you have the outside guy who should be one on one with the corner. And you can pretty much throw that ball up and try to body him up and make that play. Or if you have a speed guy, throw it past him. Okay. So right now, if I get quarters, I'm going to go with that look. And if I don't get quarters, I'm just going to go with my regular progression of dig like I do on day one. Okay. So since we know the play, it's fine. I got a bad throw there. My fault. I waited too long. But in general, I feel like double post is better. And this is called, in the game or in their book, it's called topper. All right. So this would be topper left, right? Or just you can actually call it dig topper. Okay. Dig right, Y dig, and then topper, which is the alert. And the one thing I like about this play is just I'm getting pressure every time here. If I lead this ball, usually the corner can't keep up with me on it. I'm just gonna throw it here. And this play right there, Harrison's a small receiver. I like a big receiver on that side to run this play or whatever side I'm going to do it on. Okay, so I'm not going to waste time on that, but that's a good little quarters beater. The other one that some people like is what people call the Mills concept, which is just the deep dig and the post. Don't run that this year, Madden, because the dig itself. Let me just get this guy out here. The dig itself doesn't get covered. Sometimes it gets the safety would not play the dig. Right, he would actually let it go. Which in real life, that's always a thing that DB coaches have to decide: is do you play the 10 yard dig, or do you pass it to the linebackers, and the linebackers going to be ready to take it, or do you play like a softer zone like you just saw right there in the last play? So it's a little bit too confusing. That's why the double post to me is good. So that's my answer versus split safety coverage in this formation. I already showed you the screen, which is what I would use if I don't know the coverage, and then you have the run. Okay. All right. I know this is a long video, guys. I appreciate you guys sticking through. As we go through each one, there's more, every single one. So I can look at it from here. SC dig is a good play that I like versus versus post safety coverage. And then also again here, I have another version of a double post versus middle field open, middle field split safety coverage, which is good versus quarters like we just saw, and it's also good versus actually cover two as well. Okay. I have four verticals again. Again, I'm going to make what I want. I have right here an RPO on this one. Okay. And the great thing is that you don't even have to necessarily be in. Let me just come out on something. Because these formations are so close and so similar, I can actually go into another set of plays. So I can go over now to the doubles offset over here and call from this section. All right, let's just say I don't like this, or I just ran this a couple plays ago. What do we have? Let's go to this side. Let's go to that one. I like this one versus split field, middle field open, okay, or split safety coverage, okay. So everything is aligns correctly, and you can kind of go through each one. I don't want to go through all of them right now. You guys download the playbook and look at them. You can kind of explore them yourself. I just want to get through right now 3x1. Okay, so 3x1 for me is a little bit built a little bit different. I don't have a lot of 3x1s because the game just doesn't really have a lot of great 3x1s in this offense anymore. Like it doesn't have a lot of under center stuff anymore either. But right now, the first two lines are plays that I'm going to pick quickly. I'm going to come out here and pick from these plays, which is one of them is that flounder play right there. Then we have over here, we have some good plays I like in the red zone, the Y corner, which is Charger. Okay. And then we have inside attack, which is Crane, but it's a little bit different because of the tight end's not really running a big route. He's running like a slant route himself. I kind of like that, just running in stock in the red zone. And then as we get towards the bottom, these would be the audible plays. Okay. So let's just say we come out and we're going to run flounder, okay, versus some sort of nickel defense. Okay. I'll probably do it on the left hash. Actually, I guarantee I'll do it on the left hash. And I can just run this play like I talked about before. We talked about flounder. This is cover 2. This would be interesting. I'm going to try to hit this post ball. Hopefully I can make a good throw. Nope, I didn't. It's a little bit, back in the day, that post used to be money. Outside post versus cover 2. This year it's a little bit off. All right, now, hey, I don't like flounder right now, even though I actually would like flounder versus this look. Let's go through my reads here. Let's go through my plays. So this first one here is curls X go. Okay. Now, there are different ways to look at this. They actually did have in their system quick game route where it was seam of 2, okay, and an outside hitch by one, which to me I'm going to use the smoke route. So that could be a quick game route, but I'm not going to consider it quick game. I'm going to use Haas for this, which may not. This is my decision. You can do what you want. Versus this type of look, I like Haas. Okay, Haas versus single high look. Now, the only thing is, I like it versus zone coverage more than I do man coverage. Okay. And because there's a chance this could be man, there's a very high chance because of one player in particular that I'm looking at, the safety, strong safety is aligned to the side of the tight end. So there's a 90% chance this is probably man to man. Boss is not great versus man to man. Right? You got a theme route that's going to be covered by the nickel, and you got a smoke route that's going to be covered by the outside corner. Not great, right? Now, Clark is running a little sit down route over the middle that could get open, but linebackers have a tendency to jump in that too. So, where are we going right now? So, what I'm going to talk about quickly is this. This is a 3x1 formation, okay, but I'm running it like a 2x2. So, when you do that, and that's part of you can do this, you can call a 2x2 combo formation like Haas, right? And then Clark can be put on whatever you want. Okay, and I heard Tom Moore talk about this. You could put him on the 5-yard under. You can put him on what he calls a through route, which is just a vertical. You can put him on an out, which wouldn't make sense to do right now, but you can do that, right? You can put him on whatever you want. You can block him. But right now, he's your extra player. So let's just block him for now, okay? Or let's just leave him on his original route. Let's go back to that. I'm sorry. Let's leave him on his original route. Doesn't matter, okay? More like a check down or just, you can look for him late if you want, if you're in trouble. But then now on the backside, what do we have? If your route is not called, you have the standard. Okay. So right here, we're gonna go with the flare and we're gonna go with the curl. I just flipped the formation by accident. Now you're probably telling me, John, I thought you said you only make 2 hot routes. Yeah, this one is a little bit lengthy. Okay, but I need to have this one in the system. And I'm gonna talk to you about one more thing too before I leave. That's gonna make some sense here. But right now we do have technically knots to the right. Okay. Even if I just kept it like this, all right, and kept it a 5 yard, so we have 3 audibles, 3 hot routes. We have a good answer versus zone to the right, and we have a good answer versus man, which is just the curl and the flat to the left. Okay, so this would be an example where we're going to have to read coverage and go from there. Now, the original play itself, though, when they came out in curl X go, has what? The slot receiver is running a curl, right? If I know it's man, I know it's a team that runs a lot of man to man, right? I'm going to keep the curl on. So this is my own little thing that I'm doing. This is how you're going to build your offense as well. You might have little exceptions to the rule because we're playing John Madden 24. I'm not playing John Madden 05. Okay, so Things are different. So I'm gonna actually not just be a robot and just force myself. I'm not gonna throw a ball over here. I'm not gonna put a route over there that I know is probably never gonna get caught because of man-to-man coverage. I'm gonna go with this, and I'm gonna run the curl to the guy in the slot and just go because I also want to have less audibles. Okay, so if they came out in a in a different look, if it's an obvious zone look, then of course, then I wouldn't. Then I put that guy on a seam route, and we'll play off of that. So said a lot to just let you know that that's one exception that I have, but I want to also teach you the whole idea of using the two-man concept out of a 3-by-1 formation. Okay. All right, here we go. Now we have a split safety look, right? And I'm going to go with my second option here, which would be for verticals play, okay, versus split safety look. Good versus cover two, but this is probably not cover two. So we're also going to go now with one of the concepts that I had down there. I think I had it in the 3-man concepts. Or actually, I might have had it covered when I was showing you guys. Concept called trash, okay? So trash is a concept where basically we're working jet to the right, okay? If you want to look at it that way, with an out route of Clark, okay? So that's trash. You want to look at it from the standpoint that I just taught you that, hey, we're going to treat this like a two-man concept and have jet to the right, right, with Wayne and Stokely. And then we're going to work Clark on out route because we can do whatever we want with them, right? We can have him do that. We could have left him on his original route. All right. But I like this look versus, I like this play in general versus split safety coverage. I really like it versus cover two looks. If it's not cover two and it's some sort of quarters coverage look, the leverage that you get from the read from Stokely to Clark is pretty darn good. All right, so let's take a look at this real quick. All right, of course they blitz me, but that's fine. We had Clark sitting there. So the read there for me is pretty much Stokely. I am peeping the outside guy in case something happened to Clark. Okay. All right, here we go. Split safety look, but it's a curl zero look, but it's all good. Let's just go with our regular 4 verticals play. I can protect if I want, but I'm going to run trash again. All right. Trash is a funny way to say it. I'm going to keep the back in the block. All right. Could have just left him on his original assignment, which is actually, let's go back to the original play. All right. He has a blue route, which means he's going to block versus blitz pressure. So I'm going to trust that he does that here. And I told you about this before, but actually that little alley read route is pretty good versus cover zero pressure. You can just get a good throw there, bad throw by me. That post route does work well against safeties, okay? Or you can just throw a curl if you want to do that. All right, so here we go back to post safety look. We'll go curls X go. All right, good chance that this is going to be what I talked about. Uh, this is actually going to be zone, right? Why? Because the safety is actually down to the left. You see the safety standing there on the left-hand side of the screen? He's not to the right, okay? So because of that, we're good. So we could probably win over here to the right-hand side. If you're not sure, just take the backside and use the standard. Give yourself 3 hot routes here on this play. I know it's more than usual, but we have a good answer versus man-to-man coverage on this side or potentially even zone, all right? So he hits him. I'll say real quick, I want to show you this, and I'm glad this is what happened. This is going to happen to you too if you run this seam route. As soon as you see that the nickel hits him, you're thinking, okay, I know he's hitting him because he's going to drop out underneath my hitch, right? It's the reason why I like Haas because there's more separation, but that's fine. You're going to kind of automatically say, hey, I'm going to force the ball almost to the seam route, right? That's kind of like your thought process. But what happened here? The next player, which could be a user, the hook player got really good depth and got in that window, right? And you're throwing a low ball, so it's hard. He can actually break it up or pick it off. So this is why in this play in general, and this is a real life play, why this guy's route is so important. He actually becomes an option for you to throw the tight end little dump over the middle. He gets a little bit too far over, but that guy, as soon as you see this player drop out, you could definitely think about potentially throwing that tight end little pop, that little pop pass in the middle. Okay. If you don't like it, you can just come back over to your left hand side and make your read, which has ended up being a curl flat, and you're gonna dump it to the back. You're gonna throw it to the swing, like you would on anything, any other standard play. Pretty much the swing is your spot. All right. All right. Here we go with 2-man. All right. So we have trash right here. Good versus 2-man. We have 2 guys breaking away from leverage. It's actually cover 1, so not bad. Versus cover 1, I didn't mention this. Cover 1 press, always alert your outside guys. So right there, I just assumed it was 2-man. That's my fault. Let me see if I have my clues. Guys on Patreon know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I should have known this is not 2-man. It's actually pretty easy to see that it's cover 1 press. All right. So That's that. All right, this is going to be zone. Let's do it one more time. Also, if I'm not comfortable with this play, if this play is just too much or you don't like it as you listen to me talk about it, the third play, we don't know coverage, we're not sure if it's man or zone, right? The one that I love to use, I'm always right. What's I'm going to call it the always right play. It's crane, which is automatically set for you. You don't have to make any adjustments. You just go through your reads, right? This is going to be easy read there. Always take that completion if you got it. That's the first play that we talked about when it comes to our core plays. Okay, so we have that there. All right, so that's pretty much it when it comes to that formation. That's a big formation for me. There's a lot more plays in there. I do actually have. Let me show you something at the bottom of this formation. I do have some other type of screens in there because I do anticipate using this on like 2 minute drives. So halfback screen, wide receiver screen, not part of the audibles, but going to be used more in a 2 minute drive situation. All right. All right. Let's take a look at doubles offset or this one. Let's see. All right. You guys kind of got a feel for what's going on here. You see how the book is kind of labeled. Let's take a look at this one. So let's just say I want to run inside zone, right? Come out. Ball's going to be probably in this hash over here. And I could just obviously run inside zone versus this look. The one thing I like about this, I'm not going to lie, game planning, which I've talked about before, is important and really gives you a nice little advantage. I hope I'm not eating my words here, but like I have a playoff game today, and I could be game planning right now. I'm not going to, okay? I'm just going to go into the game and just call it because on defense, I feel like my principles are good enough to at least hold the team to 24 points. Sad to say, I'm playing a guy who's going to be a lot of meta, so I'm just going to be protecting against the common meta wheels, plants that go all the way across the field, RPOs, just the basic stuff, right? He's going to try to one play touchdown me like every play. So as long as I play pretty conservative and try to stop the deep balls, I probably only give up 2 or 3 touchdowns. Okay. So that's that. But on offense, I feel confident that I don't really I might want to go back and look at what his favorite coverage is. But besides that, situationally, the good thing about this offense is that I can run these plays at any time. So like all these plays are available to me in third down, they're available to me on first down. And the one thing Tom Moore said is if a play is so good, if one of your third down plays or red zone plays is so good, well, then why don't you run it more? Why don't you have it as part of your core offense if it's so good? So that's something to think about. Like all this, like people can't really get a bead on, hey, this is what he does on third down, this is what he does on first down, because I'm doing it at all downs. Okay. And that's the whole thing about the K gun offense back in the day with the Bills, the originators of this style of offense to what the Indy offense has become K gun 2 or K gun 2.0. It's become something that, you can mix and match combinations of coverage against anything at any time and just play. So the high octane part of the offense is always a part of what you do. Okay. All right. So we're into this formation. I'll make this one the next to last one. Um, this is good versus the first one's good versus what? Or I like it. Not good versus everything, but I like it more versus post safety coverage. Second one, I like more versus split safety coverage. That's kind of what we have right here. Okay. Even though it's a cover zero look. So because it's a cover zero look, I'm just going to run the 4 verticals play like we talked about. I'm going to put my outside guy on the right hand side into a curl. That's an option for me, right? I also have that Stokely route that I talked about. And obviously, you get a cover zero look. Everybody knows curls are good versus man. If they decided to press me, I would have looked for fades and I would have looked for Stokely's route as well. Okay. So here we go. I have inside zone versus an 8-man box or a 7-man box, whatever you want to call it. I'm not in love with the play, right? So let's go to my first audible. SE Dig. I like this play. This is Bulls or Cattle on the left. All right. So all I have to do is make a hot route to my slot receiver that's actually called Bulls, which is just a hitch with a dig behind it. Okay. I like this play versus man and zone, but I like it more versus zone. That dig's probably going to open up nice for me versus zone. I'm reading that defender, that nickel. He backs up. I throw it underneath. He sits down hard. I go over the top. All right. On the right hand side, I have already set up right now Charlie. Okay. Leave the back in the block. He's not part of this. It's not a 3-man concept. So I have 2 2-man concepts here. I have Bulls to the left and I have Charlie to the right. I like this versus zone to the left and I like it versus man to the right. If it's a match, I can go either one because it's pretty much more of a it's both coverages. I'm gonna get zone in the middle with the linebackers, and I'm gonna get match on the outside if that happens. Okay, so I wasn't sure for some reason the tight end with his route made the strong safety sit there in that window because I was looking over there first because I knew the timing of this play would be throw the curl first, but because he kind of like jumped out as soon as the ball was stopped, I saw him like stand there. I didn't know that this guy's route actually bends outside a little bit. That's my fault. But I just didn't go with the curl. Timing was off, so I went to the inside dig, which we were going up against man there. So that's a good play versus split safety coverage. A little bit of a different concept than what we've been doing so far. I mean, versus post safety coverage. Here goes split safety coverage. I can either run the ball or I can run my classic double post. One of my favorites. Again, this looks like two man, by the way, which again, two man is like the one coverage that honestly you should run the ball against or you should have specific plays for. But you know what? Me running double post left, okay, or yeah, topper. I'm sorry, we call it topper left, right? And I'm going to run Miami to the right, which you've already kind of talked about. Miami's not great versus two man, but I do believe like Clark or Die might win versus two man, right? A lot of times you get the leverage of that tight end working across his face. That works out pretty well. All right. So that was that look. I had lots of options. Let's go back to here. Cover one look, cover actually just go with the middle field close look. All right. I'm actually gonna make sure I messed that up. Uh, anyway, I didn't get a chance to get my audibles in. I was gonna put the tight end on a straight streak instead of this play right here. You see how he bends outside? Don't like that. Okay. Here we go with the aggressive look from the secondary. They're giving me that all out blitz look. If we block this up, let's see if we can hold off to the this ball right here. Oh, DB played it pretty well. Still have to read that, guys. That's something that I know. It's not an automatic throw on the post. You got to see if he wins. You got to feel comfortable hanging in the pocket a little bit there. All right, so now we're back again. Now let me get this right. So I'm going to go Charlie over here. And then if you want to leave that pivot on, that's actually one of the plays in the playbook or in the concepts. It's called um, cattle, so we're pulling the cattle out of the barn or whatever. And that's where we are. So you could actually let this stay on. Doesn't really matter. I just like this versus zone. I kind of like this a little bit better. All right. But yeah, definitely got a zone look there. That was actually a cover two invert zone blitz pressure look. But again, I just liked it. So I actually got a cover two look. It wasn't even a cover three defense, but that's what we got. All right. All right. So sorry about that. One of my lights just went out. All right, so we're good there. And then we also have our we were not sure what the coverage is. This is a good time for it, right? Cover two look, but you don't really know if it's cover two. It could be a pressure, it could be cover three, it could be a lot of different things people are good at disguising. So you could just let this thing rock if you want. You got basically jet on both. So you got jet to the left and you got standard to the right. Put the back out, you got standard to the right. All right. If you don't like that, you say, I'm not sure. Maybe this is something a little bit different. The one that I would think maybe it's cover nine, cover nine's something popular. So I'm going to go with, let's just say I'm going to go with Grissom to the right, thinking that if this is quarters, I should win to the right with my tight end. Okay. And then on the left hand side, I have something just in case it is cover two. I'm actually going to move the back over and put him on a swing on this side, give myself a nice little standard with the Ali Reed route just in case. Okay. And that's exactly what I got there, which is funny. I got cover nine. I still went with the cover two beating side. I could have gone with the quarter side again. So take a look at that real quick. So this is why knowing defense helps you with offense, guys. I think that's why defensive coaches are the best. I'm joking. Anyway, so yeah, I got the quarters look, so I could have thrown out route, but I was saying, you know what? Let me go hunt up some bigger fish. Obviously, this guy is wide open right here. Okay, so I decided to throw him. I got the ball to him a little bit late, but just went with that. All right. So we're good there. This one has an RPO smoke as a good RPO play there. And we're straight. Good to go. Now remember, this is also, I can get back into the other plays. So the next set puts the back on the other side. PA dagger is a combination that is pretty much the same, but it's set up a little bit different. I'm going to go with bulls to the left, and then on the right hand side, I'm going to go with Corona. Okay, so is this good? I like bulls again versus the same look if it's zone. If it's man to man, I kind of like the comeback, but also I can alert for Clark against zone if he gets wide open. All right, so that was actually some sort of match principle. I think it was three seam. So same thing as man to man to me. It's in the man category. When it comes to that play, it's kind of in a hybrid category, but it's more man. And we're good to go. But I could check into other plays as well. This is the covered, the split safety look defense that I like, offense that I like here out of a different formation. We have over here, we have just our dig off of play action. On the right hand side, we have our standard with the alley read route. So that's pretty good. This is a situation where I'm just going to alert for cover two to the right. Probably not going to get it. So I'm going to go through my pure progression because you guys know this from day one. The outside guy, I'm actually get him up. Can't do that. I don't mind. This dig right here is really deep. Just let you know. You may not want it to be that deep, and it kind of runs a little bit funky sometimes. That one I kind of froze on. Play action to me is a little bit tough to run our base concepts because the timing is off. I like to just get into my drop back. So this is going to be a little bit funky. But they actually covered this one pretty good. I should have, again, never turned down the easy completion. This was a completion. I turned it down for whatever reason. I wanted to wait on something else. It wasn't smart. Everything was covered pretty well. The blitzing nickel went all the way across the field and sacked me, but that's my fault. But I wanted to show you that you can go there. I can go back to the original plays that we talked about earlier, right? We can go from here. So just want to let you guys know this is all available to you on PS5, right? You guys can definitely take a look at that. They gave me cover one man there. That's where I wish I would have had the dig by the tight end there. That would have been better. But I think I probably had him on the crossing route. I just didn't want to throw it because it's kind of cheesy. Yeah, I did. But anyway, it's not supposed to be a crossing route. It's supposed to be a dig route. So, all right. I think that's enough for this video. I think you guys probably, if you got into this, hour and a half long video, you guys are really committed to the system. But hey, it's free, right? So everybody can jump on. You guys have seen all the plays in the last video. Go back and take a look. I do have obviously empty. You have a lot of three-man combinations set up for you already with the also two-man combinations on the other side. And I didn't even go into under center. I apologize, guys, but we do have the same setup. The only thing about under center is that I do have more play actions in there. Let me just show you. All right, so I call trap. There's some more play actions in this bad boy because you want to make sure that you get yourself into a play action. He always said you want to save it for when you need it. This formation's a bad example. I actually have some plays that I like to beat people on. But like there's some play actions that are mixed into some of these plays. More than the other ones. And if there's only four plays in a formation, I put them all in there just so I can get to them. Okay. I have to remember that if I called stretch or slam or whatever it might be, okay? So you're going to see some more play actions and some of the answers when it comes to under center. But most of the people are going to be in gun most of the day. That's what the football game is. It's so sad because this playbook would have been really good last year and the year before because there were so many more plays out of dice slot and wide trips, but they kind of nerfed the formation, took a lot of plays out. So you just have to run your standard core plays there. So I hope you guys just got the idea of what I'm trying to do from also a tempo standpoint, picking plays, um, and also the two-man and three-man combinations and how you can get yourself into a good play and have fun and be really creative. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed this part of the series. This is pretty much the last video. I might come back and do something on red zone, but just in general, guys, red zone. Just there were more corner routes in red zone. There's more smash combinations, a lot more 3x1 and empty down there. That was pretty much the meat and potatoes. If it's not, just go run your normal run plays, stretch, spin and pull, and get after it. All right, crap, get after it. Okay, guys. All right, I'll talk to you later, man. Peace.